Building a team is quite challenging in King Arthur. Understanding which legends are going to work together is really important, and how you actually optimize them in the battle itself is super important. In this video, I'm going to give you a bit of a tutorial on how to build a team and how to structure your battle on auto versus manual play to be able to get the most out of the legends that you are building in King Arthur's Legend Rise. Now, I want to thank the team over at Netmarble for sponsoring today's video. If you want to play this game after watching it, make sure you click on the link in the description and the pinned comment. That will get you to be able to create an account. You can make an account and download the game on all the platforms, Android, iOS, PC. Cross-link your account progress so you can play it on all those devices all at the same time. So let's get into it. How do you play the game? Every battle is going to be made up of 4 heroes, 4 legends, right? We're going to look in Arena right now as the starting point. You can see that I'm facing 4 opponents and I have the ability to build 4 people in my team. I've got a couple of legends that I've built up here. Every team has a leader effect. Not every legend has a leader bonus. And not every leader bonus is going to apply in all areas. You can see right now, I've got Turin will activate in Arena and Hound's Favor, which is one of the favor dungeons. But Clarison here doesn't have a bonus at all, right? Clarison doesn't have a bonus from this ability. I can show you here the unknown characters that I don't have in terms of Lancelot, Florentius, and the other guy, which I forget his name, Severus. I don't have those, but they would apply here as well. There's lots of different options: attack speed, effect resistance, maximum HP, drain amount. Morgan has got a very unique one. I don't really see anyone else having drain amount. Damage flat taken, damage up. So it depends on what you want to do. If you're building a team that needs to survive, max HP, drain, damage down seems good. If you want a team that's going to hit harder, critical strike damage, critical raid up, I think is one that I've seen around as well. Attack speed to go faster. Those options are available. Pick your leader first. That's the first step. Pick your leader first. So I'm going to go with Bedivere. I want to do more damage. I want to burst the enemy out. Once you've built that, then you've got 3 other slots you can build. There are some considerations to take into account. You want to make sure you think about element relations. I'm fighting frost, ice, and wind here. So obviously, I've been using frost. It's going to be really good into the 2 fires, but it's going to struggle into the rear. Now, I don't mind because I think most of his strength is going to be in the legends that he's got here, the legendary ones, and he's going to be neutral into Merlin. So this works in my favor. But what I don't want to do, because I've got a lot of flames, is pick a lot of wind, because they're going to be taking a lot more damage from these from Bedivere. Bedivere right now is probably the main damage dealer of this team, along with Clarison. So I really want to make sure that I'm not taking any sort of wind in the fight. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is the environment. In Arena particularly, the environment I think is on a seasonal rotation. So right now we've got a night squall environment, which means that any hero, any legend that is a night is going to be working in squall. The wind icon here or night is going to benefit from this fight. Okay, they're going to get an environmental advantage of like 30% crit damage. It's big. So what I really want to pick here, ideally, I want to pick Frost, because Frost is going to have an elemental advantage against his primary damage dealers. That's where I want to go. So I'm going to pick Ain. Why am I picking Ain here? Because Ain is a support. So what Ain is able to do is provide a defense increase, dot immunity, and also able to provide some debuff immunity here as well if I need to. And she's also going to grant attack increase to each ally. So this Chilling Ascent is a big damage boost for Bedivere. She also has a passive in which she gives counter attack bonuses when I use her. So I'm going to pick Ain to go with this. Frost. Again, I'm looking for a little bit of a bonus. The other thing I could pick then is, do I want more damage? Do I want more utility? I kind of like having a healer in every team. Turin is a very good healer that works with Ain and also is Knight. Wind is not great. It's going to mean that she is squishy against these things. She'll take more damage. Alternatively, if I had the Frost weapon, I would pick Jillian, because her second ability on Frost is incredibly strong, but I don't have that. There are other options available here, like we've got Lot. Lot is very good for Arena because of his ability to give you more recharge in effect. And he has this annoying thing that he can basically stop you getting lots of debuffs, which are pretty strong in Arena. But I haven't really leveled Lot, so I'm going to stick without that, and I'm going to go for a bit of a risk, and I'm going to bring Clarison in. I'm going to bring another damage dealer in. Clarison is a great damage dealer. She puts in defense decrease. She hits multiple times. She's got an AoE. We're going to bring Clarison in here as well. And then I'm just going to bring in another fire healer. I'm going to bring in Jillian, who's going to be a healer for me. Jillian has this ability to be able to heal the lowest HP ally and also this ability here. So I built a team, 2 damage dealers, a support, and a healer. Feels pretty balanced. I'm using a damage leader bonus here, 19,000. You get a power, team combat power. It's a pretty, if you don't know the complexities and the depth of the game, it's a pretty quick way for you to know, hey, am I going to win or am I going to lose? There's a pretty good chance I'm going to win this because I've got a pretty good advantage. I've got double the power of the strength here. It's in Night Squall. I've picked 3. I've actually got everyone apart from Jillian who in a bonus effect here. So that means we're going to have a damage bonus of 30% critical damage, 10 more attack speed. I'm going to take 5% less damage. So when we come into the battle, I'm going to take it off auto straight away. Now, when you're in battle, most people will want to try to do this on auto when you start playing the game long term, but sometimes you might need to manual a few things. Obviously, we're not going first here, so they're able to do a lot of things. So one of the things you need to know first in battle is the tab button is going to help you see what effects that are on your team right now. So you can see Bedivere has got a lot of decreased defense going on. That's a bit of a problem. They've got defense increases and a pierce increase of 5%. Pierce basically means that it's going to ignore some of my defense. That's the first thing you need to know. Now, in other places, in non-competitive areas, you'll also be able to see the skills that your enemies have, so you can basically plan what you need to do. On the left here, we've got the turn meter ordering. This basically tells me who's going to go next. So I can see right now I'm going to go next. I do have a bit of a timer here, so I am losing time. So I just need to put this on pause a second. Otherwise, we're going to lose all the vigor. So in arena, obviously they're trying to force you to take a turn. The longer you don't take a turn, the more vigor you lose. So I'm just going to use Clarisin's A2 here to do some AoE damage. So you can see on the turn who's going to go next. It's going to go Bedivere, it's going to go Ain, and then it's going to go this. Now Bedivere is going to use his A2, and I'm going to take out one of their opponents. I'm going to take out the damage dealer. Things to note here, 25%, that is your elemental bonus. This is your elemental bonus here. When you see the 25%, it means that you're going to deal more damage. The minus 15% means you have a disadvantage, so you shouldn't fight those. Now we're going to use this ability here. We're going to cleanse some debuffs. We're going to put all those buffs up. And like I said, now you can see I've got critical strike damage, counter attack rate, attack up, critical strike. Ain has basically giga charged my damage dealers. They're going to hit really hard. So 1 support, 2 damage dealers, healer. That's a pretty good way to balance out your team. Sometimes you'll need to drop the second damage dealer to try and keep your team alive because you're facing a very difficult opponent. In this instance, I can do what I want, and I can probably just finish the fight off here with a big AoE smash. And I've won. Some of the cool things, you can actually change your taunt message if you want. So I think that's kind of cool. You can actually change your defeat messages, which is cool. I like this. That's kind of like a very cool little thing to do. Now, when you're running story content, dungeon content, it changes up things a little bit, because obviously when you're running different content areas, you need to optimize which abilities you're going to use in the vigor system. So I'm going to bring this team in here as an example. I'm just going to start the battle, and then I'm going to kind of take you into how you can optimize the vigor system in the team to make sure that your abilities on auto are going to work well, right? Manual, you can always choose. It's much easier on manual. You can basically determine at what point you want to use all the different abilities, because you can use your brain and say, hey, I need more healing right now because I'm going to die, or I need to attack multiple times, or I need to target this different thing. You can't really do that on auto. So like I said, when you're in PvE content, you'll see a lot more information. I can see the skills that the enemy is going to do. I can see when they're going to do it. So if I want to know what this left tusk does, it's going to inflict attack decrease for 3 turns. This one's going to inflict attack decrease. I've got permanent effects. I can see all the different bonuses, the aura bonuses, everything. It's really, really handy. Take advantage of this when you don't know what is happening, when you don't know what you've got. You can see I've got attack speed down right now. It's pretty bad. I really need to get rid of that debuff. Now, the important thing to note, come to this cog menu at the top right, and you'll have skill order settings. This is very important. This window is where you can tell the autoplay system which abilities you want the character to use on auto. So for example, I might want Turin to always use the 3rd ability because it has the instant heal. I will tell it to always use this. Now, if I don't tell it anything, it's just going to use the highest vigor ability that I have available, which means Morgan might come in and use her 3 vigor ability here. But then I don't have enough vigor ever available that Turin ever uses this 3rd ability, which means all of my healing is reduced. So what I'm doing with this system is I'm trying to make sure that the battle is going to have enough vigor so that Turin always uses the right ability at the right time. It's not perfect, it's not amazing, but if you pair this with your equipment to make sure your characters have the right combination of attack speeds, you can basically get it to work on auto, that the right ability is getting used at the right time. And if you pick this middle ability, it means you are basically saying, I never want to use these other abilities. Now, you need to know what they do. So that's an important thing. This is where the tab thing comes into it, skill info. If you can't remember, you can come in here and you can see, okay, this one's going to attack one enemy 2 times. This is one enemy 3 times. So if I want to break the shield, right, the ball has a 12 hit barrier. I need to hit it 12 times. Realistically, I kind of need to have this happening a lot, right? I need this one happening a lot because it's an extra hit. So it's going to hit more times. So I've actually got this set up wrong. So I should actually say I need this to happen on 1. Now you can say 2. So it basically forces them to use that, or you can do that. So if you never want to use the middle ability, you can say always use 1, but if you don't have enough vigor, generate the vigor instead, right? Generate the vigor so you bypass this. That's what this 1, 2, 3 is basically doing. Now, if you set the middle one to be in number 1, it's never going to use this A3. Now, for a boss encounter, I don't actually want to use Bedivir's A3 because it's actually a weaker attack on an AoE setting. I want him to use his A2 all the time. It's his strongest puncturing ability. So I've basically said here, hey, that A3 is great in arena. We just saw how powerful it was. For a battle against a boss, don't use it. Just use this ability all the time. And these things don't have cooldown. As long as you have vigor, it'll work. So you don't need to worry about like every 3rd turn. That's how it'll work. And similarly with Morgan, if we look at Morgan's ability set here, this A2 attacks all enemies 3 times. This attacks one enemy 2 times. This attacks one enemy 2 times. So again, I'm looking for hits. This also decreases the attack gauge, which is really, really good to slow the boss down. So I want her to use that ability. And like I said with Turin, I want her to use this A3 ability ideally because this is where I get attack speed increase, effect resistance increase, and I also get an AoE heal from my team. So that's where I'm getting healing. So using this skill ability setup here and then pressing auto is where you'll get the full value. So you can see here now, Vigor is going to generate. She's going to use this ability. He's not got enough, so he does A1 instead. And then we get Bedivere to come in with the A3. Now, you're going to have to work on this. This is difficult because what could happen is Tristan actually never gets enough vigor with the way that I've set this up. Because it could be that the 3 vigor spenders and the 2 vigor spenders here just means that he never gets to his A3. Fortunately, we did here. It worked out quite well. So we've actually got this going. So you can see I'm stacking up this. I'm doing very effective damage against this boss. Now we put that heal back up. But again, he's generating vigor at this point. Morgan is then doing A2. And we're puncturing the boss. That is how you can optimize the abilities so that you get it exactly how you need it to. And it's a very important aspect of playing the game because this is how you're going to get the most out of it. You then want to pair that setup with how you build your characters. There are different ways you can manipulate the vigor system to be able to give you more in a battle. The first way to do it is with a stat, attack speed, right? Every character will have attack speed. This is how quickly they're going to go. So if you put more attack speed on a character, then they're going to go before a legend that has less attack speed. So if you need people to, if you need your legends to go in a specific order, get their attack speed in the right place. The other thing you can do is you can put them in a vigor set. What vigor set does, and I recommend you do this in one character, on one legend and in every team, ideally your support, I would say, is every time that support takes a turn, they will give an additional vigor at the start of the turn. This is how you get around the problem of, I don't have enough vigor, I'm not generating enough. Put some vigor sets in your team, and you can craft this set so you can force the creation of this vigor. If you go into the forge and you go into the equipment crafting, I can force the creation of vigor. You'll need this material. You get it from the story, right? This is where you get it from. You have to go farm this, but vigor sets you can craft. And you can get this pretty, like you can force yourself into getting a good vigor set. So put a vigor set on your champions, get the attack speed in the right order, use the skill order setup, and that is how you build a very efficient team. This is kind of like the advanced level of building teams to be able to defeat content, because you will want to run it on auto. Once you start getting into needing to get like 50 Plane of Beasts run, you do want to get a consistent auto team. You don't want to sit there and manual every single fight. So that is team building for you. Make sure you pick the right leader bonus for the right area. Make sure you think about the content you're fighting as well. Plane of Beasts, for example, it does give you recommendations of heroes. You can see I'm using Tristan because I need to hit it multiple times to break the effect. I'm using multi-hit characters to break the effect. So absolutely take that into account. Try to build kind of like one damage dealer, one support, one healer, and then an optional flex pick depending on what you're doing. And then use those skill order setups and your attack speed and vigor sets to make sure that you're using the right ability at the right time to maximize your team. Thanks again to Netmarble for sponsoring this video. I hope that was of interest and was helpful for you trying to understand how best to build your team. If you like the game that you've just seen, you've not played it, if it's the first video you've seen, make sure you click on the link in the description. That will take you straight to the website. You can download it from mobile, Android, iOS. You can download it on PC. You can download it on all these platforms, link your account across, and you can play it across all the different devices. Let me know in the comments below what you think, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.